That's all part of that.
Sandy would like to offer the mic to people who would like to say something humorous or some little story or event.
They got the wrong guy up there then.
Some little story or event that they shared with Joe. So she asked me if I would start this process off. And I'm an appraiser as well, and Joe and I have taught many appraisal courses together. Some of them are week-long. And I can tell you that at the end of the week, sometime I ended up owing rather than making money that week. But there was one very special event that, if any of you have ever been to downtown Chicago, they have this place that's called Redhead Piano Bar.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Joe and I ventured in there one night, and it was a really bitter cold winter night. And as you know, it's kind of a lot like Cheers. You have to take 4 or 5 steps to go down to a little lower level. And so Joe was leading. We're all bundled up, and Joe starts walking down the stairs, and then Joe starts backing up the stairs. Well, most of you know that Joe doesn't back up for anybody. But this time he did, and following him up was this stunning lady. She was totally made up. She had to have at least on a $50,000 first coat. She had to have several $1,000s in earrings, jewelry, and he just looked at her and said, "You are absolutely stunning." And with that, she walked up to him. She pulled his head towards her, and she started tickling his tonsils. This proceeded for a good 10 or 15 minutes. And I think Joe's toes were barely on the ground, to be quite frank. And at the end of 10 or 15 seconds, she grabbed what little hair that he has on the back of his head. She grabbed his hair from the back of his head and said, "Take that home to your wife." With that, she proceeded to get into a limousine, and she took off. And Joe was dazed for the rest of the evening. It was one of my most memorable events that I've ever shared with Joe, and I will never, ever forget it. Who else would like to share a moment? Someone's got to share a moment.
Get up there.
Come on, Blake. Come on, you're comfortable in front of the mic here. Go for it.
Okay. We got a lot to say here. I know all of you know my father. Some of them, not as much as others, but he is a very, very, very special person. The one tribute, the one thing that he has done all his life that blows me away, and he's taught me so much about this, is he's always wanted to help people. And he's helped numerous people. Myself, my family. He's made a lot of possibilities happen for a lot of different people. Mike, myself, Aaron, Franny, Matthew, Sandra. He's always there. He would take the shirt off his back for you. He's accomplished many, many, many things. Many things that he thought he'd never accomplish. And I'm very, very proud of what he's done with his life. Growing up, piss poor. Nothing. and accomplishing almost everything. 1962, went to the Marines, war hero. Shot down in a helicopter, quadruple bypass, cancer. No matter what hits him, he overcomes it. I tell my kids, your grandfather is Superman. He's the Man of Steel. Takes a licking, he keeps on ticking. And I'm so glad that I think the worst is behind him with his health problems. He's got a long way to go. Now, I'd like to share some good stories, some funny stories. I remember the first time I tried to outdrink my father.
How'd that go?
Big mistake. Cancun, Mexico. I think I was 18, might have been 19. And the last thing I remember after having a few beers was getting a taxi ride home and throwing up everywhere in the bathroom. And my dad came in maybe 2-3 hours later with a handful of beers and said, "Come on, let's go." I laid down, had the worst hangover of my life. Never tried to do that again. Bad move. Prior to that, I think the first time that I drank with my dad, we took a Cubs trip. Myself, my brother, my dad. I think I was 16, maybe 17 years old. This is a good story here. We took a bus ride in, enjoyed the game, had a couple beers. On the way home, one of my father's friends got a little out of hand, and he decided he wanted to smack me around a little bit. So he smacked me, I smacked him. He smacked me, I smacked him. Finally, I just hit him in the nose. And from that point on, I remember crying my eyes out thinking, okay, my dad's gonna kill me, or my dad's gonna kill this guy. Somebody's gonna get in big trouble. And as I'm sitting bawling my eyes out in the seat of this bus, and my brother's sitting next to me, this all happened within 10 minutes. My brother pukes all over the guy in front of him, which happened to be my godfather, my Uncle Mike. Last bus trip that I think you probably ever took. That was a good one though. So on the ride home, after we get off the bus and we're heading home, my dad's looking at me, he's looking at my brother, he's like, "Your mother's gonna kill me. First thing you boys do when you get home, jump in the pool. Sober up, clean yourself up, get the puke off you, quit your crying." Those were the good old days. Those are the things I remember. But, you know, overcoming adversity is all he's about. So, growing up, 4 kids, we were a handful. Jumping off the roof into the pool, shooting the .45 out of your bedroom window. It wasn't me. Sorry, Steve. But in ending, very, very special person. I respect him more than anything. I always know that if I need advice, I can count on him for anything. I love you, Dad. Happy birthday. I'd like to propose a toast. Everybody please raise your glass. It's fitting that this is happening the week of the Marines' birthday, as well as Veterans Day. So, on the count of 3, as loud as you can say it. Simplify. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Pretty good kids out today, but that's what I tell Joe here. Thanks for always being there for me in my life. So, thanks very much.
I'm at today because of him. I can't thank him enough. And as we know, he's a great guy. And when I used to drink, we used to drink hard. And he never bit, but I did. But we could go through a couple bottles of scotch in an afternoon. It wasn't a big problem. But we had a lot of good times doing it. And Joe, I just want to thank you.
My name is Bob Carlson. I'm from DeKalb, and I've known Joe ever since I started appraising in 7/7 of 1977. And one weekend we had to, Joe and I and Jim Blades went into downtown Chicago to take a seminar. So anyway, we met in DeKalb, and we went downtown. We got snowed in downtown, and so we had to stay overnight, and so we went out to dinner, and we went to Eli's Steakhouse, and I can remember we weren't dressed very well because we hadn't anticipated that. Well, Eli's Steakhouse says that you have to have a sport coat on as you went into the dining room. So anyway, they gave us these 3, the most cheap sport coats you could ever imagine. And as we're walking in and embarrassed, of course, Joe always has a great comment, and everybody's looking at us, staring at us, and he goes, "We're all from the same fraternity." So anyway, Joe always has the great lines, and he has always been a real person that we always look up to, and have ever since. He's 70, I'm 65, and so I always look at him as Mike said, my father. So thanks, Joe. Happy birthday.
Aaron, I'm Joe's nephew. Well, my relationship with him started when they had their office that I remember, and he had the Porsche. Took me out to Kohl's and bought me the most ungodliest Jimmy Buffett type t-shirt. Paris. It was Paris. Him and I went out cruising. Well, we went about 20 years later, 21 or so, 22. We go out drinking. Met me down at Sioux City, one of my old hangouts. We started drinking gin. Well, as Joey said, he couldn't keep up with it. Neither could I that night. Yeah, we ended up out of Giovanni's, still drinking gin. He finally drops me out at home. And I thought I was going to go back out. I ended up passing out in the foyer of my parents' house. Well, that was the least of the problems, because when he got home, he had to, I don't know where you were going. You were going someplace to teach. God bless my Aunt Sandy. Takes him into Chicago the next day, turns around, comes back, drops him off, and it's like, I don't leave till tomorrow. By that point, she was pissed, and she said, "Well, you better just get a room." Yeah. Uncle Joe, happy birthday.
I'm Lexi. This is awkward. What me and Papa call the Gulf War. Me and my grandfather have been best friends growing up, and seeing him go through everything he has, he's my best friend and my hero, and I don't know what I would do without him. But we've grown up doing everything together, from golfing and fishing and recently shooting, but this one time we went golfing, and as you all know, my grandfather, it's his way or no other way, but we were golfing and there was a creek, and I hit it over, I don't know how, but he didn't. And he didn't want to accept the fact that he lost one of his balls. So he decided to climb down the muddy creek, and on his way down he fell and knocked himself out. And I remember just standing there crying, freaking out because he wasn't responding to me for hours, like not hours, but it felt like hours. And I remember I was like 11, and I drove the golf cart around and tried getting him out, and he just got up there, and he sat there, and he looked at me and just started laughing. And he was bleeding from like his head to his hands, everywhere he was bleeding, all because of a golf ball that he couldn't get over. And he's just been such an amazing man in my life, and as most of you know, my father's he's lived in New Jersey and other places a lot, so he's kind of been like a dad to me. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me. I love you.
I was going to come up here, but my sister beat me to it. So, if you don't know me, I'm David. Papa Joe's grandson, oldest of his grandchildren. And if you know me, I'm a little shy. You're hiding it. But I don't know if you'll remember this, but I remember probably about 7, 8 years ago when I was about 12 or 13. He took me out to lunch. I think we went to Chili's. And it was just me and him. And he got a burger. I forget what I got. And if you know Papa Joe, he gets his food, and if he doesn't like it, he'll make sure everybody in the store and restaurant knows it. So we're sitting there talking, and the little waitress looked like it was her first day. She didn't know better. A little fragile thing. Brings him his burger, takes one bite out of it, and you could just see how pissed he got. He was so disgusted about what he just ate. And she said, "Is there a problem, sir?" He said, "Take this back. I'm so appalled that I ate this." And he just threw a fit. I think the store manager came out and apologized, and he just kept yelling and yelling. And finally, when he stopped, I looked at him. I'm embarrassed too. I'm totally embarrassed. And I said, "Why would you do that?" And he just looked at me, and he said, "You get what you want." And that's just been really real to me my whole life. He's always been real to me. He's never lied to me, never told me anything that I didn't believe to be true. Like my sister said, our dad hasn't been around much, but Papa's always been there. He's the one man I will forever admire. So thank you, Papa. Semper Fi. Anybody else? Want to speak?
Joe.
You're not next. I was going to say, my name is George, and I've been a friend of the family for more years than I can remember.
43.
43?
Yeah. That's how old Sarah is.
Is that how old Brooke is?
Yes.
Oh. But I got a lot of stories. But I'll stick to a couple, make it brief. Joe talked me into buying my first house. I was renting in Northwest Rockford.
he calls me, he goes, I got a house across the street from you. You want to buy it? I said, how much? He told me, I said, okay, I'll buy it. I didn't even look at it. People asked me, I said, I'm buying a house. Somebody asked me, what does it look like? I said, I don't know. I just, you know, Joe said it was for sale, it's across the street, good neighbor. And we had a lot of fun. We'd sit on the curb and drink beer. But there was another time that Joe wore out his shoes. Mike and I, Joe and Rob King, and I don't know who else was with us. We were at Cubstown. And we left there and went to South Beloit to a bar on a motorcycle. I'm riding on the back of Mike's, and Joe's on the back with Rob King. Well, we're not exactly going the speed limit. We're going through Love's Park at 90 miles an hour. Joe's trying to slow Rob down by dragging his feet. We got to the bar and we had to check Joe's shoes to see if there was any heel left. We had a lot of good times. A lot more than I can remember. But it's been enjoyable, and he made it 70 years. I'm going to be there shortly, right behind him. But happy birthday.
I don't believe everything you heard tonight. David, thanks for sharing that one. But yeah, I do believe that people should get what they pay for. And, I'm not too shy about that. My wife still reminds me occasionally. But first of all, I want to thank my wife Sandra for putting up with me for 47 years. And I've been blessed with children, and we lost our daughter Nikki, but she's with me all the time. And a lot of you have touched my life, and I appreciate that, and just so many people have. And I've received much, much more out of life than I've given. And I just want to tell you that I couldn't ask for anything better than where I'm at today, or to have so many people here that love me and that I love also. I'm usually not a loss for words, am I, John? But I just want you to know, I really appreciate you being here, and Jack, and everybody that I look at and see. I can't tell you how much it means to me to share your evening with me. And I do hope that y'all can come to my 80th birthday.
All right, can I have some of the family come out here? We're going to sing Joe happy birthday. Friends, family, whoever wants to come out here.
We're all friends and family, right?
All right, guys, on the count of 3, go ahead and start. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joe. Happy birthday to you.
I do take requests, so if there's anything that you'd like to hear, make sure you come and see me.
Yeah, they think all the girls are, you know, like a DVD.
for the kids for like a morning thing and a bunch of, yeah, it was Rockford Mobile Vet.
Rockford Mobile Vet? Maybe I'll give them a holler.
It was nice. They came to the house, you know. I'm like, well, I understand you have to take the risk of it. It's hard. We don't care what you do.
Daddy.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, I got some cool pictures on my phone. I gotta get them to you.
In 2014, January 2014, they were starting to drug testing.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Or he'll have to go to all these classes.
You're doing the,
Yeah, I think so.
Is that the real estate where you sell houses or real estate where you do auction?
Call your dad. He put the fear of God in this kid's life. I remember when he went to the phone and made some phone calls, the kid's looking at me, and I'm just a little kid, and he's like, he's terrified. He's like, is he really gonna call the police? I think so. Is he gonna call my dad? I think so. My dad's gonna kill me. I don't know what to tell you. But that is the first time I seen my dad run, and that is one of the memories that'll stick with me forever. And I got to see great things that day. Dad, you scared the shit out of that kid, and that was one of the most awesome memories I'll ever have about you. Seeing my dad fly down the street barefoot. Yeah. With black socks on with the sweatpants. Gone. Okay, you can play some music now.